Let's go. Welcome back to the sales show, everyone. Sales sucks right now because AI is here and it's making our job even harder. But at the same time, when we start a business, and we all have a business if we're listening to this, we commit to being the main sales driver because it's the oxygen of the business, and who else will do it? So I had to bring in an expert today who can help us alleviate the situation a little bit, because he has found a way to make sales suck a little bit less. He learned a ton from pretty good people around improv. And those guys, they found ways to make sales a little bit more fun. So we might learn a ton in this episode, guys, about how to do prospecting with video and how to do it in a way that it's not selling our soul, but maybe even nurturing and fun and valuable for everybody. Welcome, Chris Bogue.
Thanks for having me here, Simon.
Chris, what can we do? The AI is here. They're calling everybody. Now we are also calling somebody. What's going on?
All right. Well, first we need to acknowledge that there has never been a time in human history where people wanted to talk to salespeople.
Oh.
That is just like, if you are doing sales, you have to understand that gatekeepers, companies, founders, VPs, their whole job is trying not to talk to you and to focus on the things that they want to do today. Your whole job as a salesperson is to find some way to create a connection. So while there are challenges today, nobody in 1980 was sitting around being like, oh gosh, if only a salesperson would cold call me today, I would just give them all my money. That's just never been how it is. And like, even at its best, even if you're doing delightful, helpful, useful stuff, most people are going to reject you or ignore you. And that is just sales. So we got to just start there.
Oh, and what if we hate rejection?
Well, then you probably shouldn't be in sales, because if you're not getting rejected, you are not working hard enough. Like, rejection is part of the game. You have to just look at it as data and, ask yourself some real questions about why something didn't work. But you kind of need to free yourself from the outcome, which is a concept people in improv are familiar with. I was trained at Chicago's Second City, which is the improv theater that has been training people since the 1950s. It's where half of Saturday Night Live comes from. And they have this weird comedy rule that you're not supposed to go for jokes. You get on stage, and the audience is paying for comedy, so they go up on stage and don't tell jokes.
So what do you go for?
You go for the relationship.
Mm.
You go for what's real, especially in Chicago, where I'm from. And there's a lot of different approaches to improv, right? So the Groundlings Theater in LA, super, super influential place. A lot of their alumni went to SNL too. They're all focused on the character, right? Building a character, creating a character that's dynamic, that can be interesting in lots of different situations. Chicago, where I'm from, is not interested in the characters, really. And the people who I send videos to are not interested in who I am as a character. They don't know me. They're like, this is some guy. I have important things to do today. I don't care about this guy. The improv question you have to ask yourself, and every salesperson should ask themselves, is like, who are we to each other? Who are these people to each other? Why do these people have a reason to talk to each other? What is different about today, about this particular moment, that's different than every single other moment that's ever existed before? And what kind of value can these two people bring to each other? And once you free yourself from having to be funny, you realize you can do anything on stage, and that's where all the fun comes in. That's when you start doing funny things. It's the same thing in sales. If you go into every situation expecting that this has to end with the other person giving you money, you're not going to get very far, you know? But if you have researched the right kind of person to find, you know what their problems are, you have some idea of the things they're facing on a day-to-day basis, then you can come in there and present a viewpoint that might be interesting. You can ask them questions that are going to help discover possible solutions to their problems. You have all these moves at your disposal, not because they're 100% guaranteed to work, but because oftentimes they just move the relationship forward in an interesting way, So, yeah, that's a long way to say, you've got to learn to trust yourself in the moment and not be so determined that the scene has to end the way you want it to end, because people are always going to surprise you.
Who are we to each other? And why is this moment different than any other moment? So when you do prospecting, do you have a large organization that does prospecting for you, or do you do your own prospecting?
So, I do my own. I do a lot of consulting for other companies, though. I do a lot of training. There's a lot of video tools out there. There's a lot of really sophisticated, simple, well-made video tools where you can, take a video of yourself and send it to someone's Gmail or someone's LinkedIn. A lot of teams pay to use this software, and nobody uses it. And I know this because I actually go and survey these people. Once every year, I go through and I send out a couple hundred surveys to sales leaders, account executives. I ask them about video, whether or not they use the tool. And even the ones that use the tool never use it.
Because it's too complicated, or why don't they use it?
There's a lot of reasons why they don't use it. So one, they think it's too complicated, which is unsurprising when you look at the kind of videos they're sending. Right. And this is something that always happens to me. Someone will hire me for sales coaching, or they'll hire me to train their team. And what they essentially want is like a product demo video, and they have it in their minds. Oh, all we need to do is send like a snappy 5-minute video to thousands and thousands of people showing them what our product does. And of course, they're all going to reach out for a demo, and we're going to have a full pipeline. And that doesn't work, because if they wanted to see a product demo, they would go to your website and they would search for what the product does. That's a marketer's job. That's not sales. In sales, your job is to ask the right questions, start conversations, and progress forward the people who have some reasonable shot of actually adopting your solution, which means the ideal sales video is shorter than 1 minute. If I send somebody something that is 30 seconds long or 45 seconds long, maybe even 20 seconds long, it's so much easier for them to respond to it, especially if I ask them an intentional question at the end of it. And, maybe I'm going to cold call them later on because this morning they opened my video and they watched it twice, but they didn't respond, right? So now when I pick up the phone, I'm not saying, "Hey, Simon, did I catch you at a bad time? This is a cold call. Do you want to hang up or do you want to ring the dice?" I'm like, "Hey, Simon, I'm the guy who sent you the video. Do you got a sec to chat? I know you watched it. Like, I know you know where I'm coming. We are coming into the relationship one step deeper. You don't know who I am, but you do know that I'm a guy who's curious about the same problems that you're thinking about, right? And that's not a guarantee that you're going to take a demo with me or that you're going to adopt my solution, but it's a lot easier to start a real conversation, And so often the answer is doing less, not doing more. It's not, and again, this is the big thing with video founders, especially if they're older, people in their 40s and 50s and 60s, like, they grew up in a time where video meant television cameras and makeup and big fancy lighting. And the people who are entering the workforce today in their 20s, they do it all on their phone. You know, it's a very casual thing. They've got dirty laundry in the background. And some of these people go on YouTube and they get millions of views. Why? Because it's authentic. It's real. It's not someone putting on an act for you. It's someone doing something that's rather vulnerable. And there are ways to make yourself easier to talk to. There are ways to make it easier to open up a conversation. And most of those ways involve doing a little bit of homework and being a little bit curious about the person you're talking to. And these are just things that most salespeople don't think to do because they've had literally zero training on video, even if they pay for a video tool.
And that's what you do, right? You help them get comfortable and get going with video prospecting?
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't have to tell you or your viewers that sales has gotten more complicated. There's a lot of automations out there. There's a lot of multi-channel plays that people are doing involving phone and LinkedIn and WhatsApp and in-person events. And there's all these tools and bells and whistles. And the complexity just kind of freezes people. They don't know what to do. And they're like, okay, I want to make a video. So they spend all week trying to make the perfect video. And it's 3 minutes long. And if they're lucky, someone's going to watch 10 seconds of it and shut it off. And if you go through the trouble of making a video, people should not be watching 10 seconds of it. They should be watching 100% of your video. And if they're not, the question you have to ask yourself is this video about me or is this video about them? Because just because you're the only person on camera doesn't mean the video is about you. When I am making a video to send to prospects, even though I'm the only person on screen, I'm the only person you're seeing on camera, the main character of that video is that person, right? I'm looking straight into the camera right now. That person is the star of the video, even though they're not in it. It's a video about them. It's a video about their company. It's a video about their goals, about possible problems they're facing. It's easier than ever to find information about these places, and AI can certainly help with that. But yeah, if you make it short and simple and about them, you got a good chance of talking to them. What do sales teams do? They make it long and complicated, and they make it about themselves.
I'm sure you're seeing many A/B tests. Is there something that's right now working better than other things when doing the short video about them?
Yeah, there's a couple weird ones. So, things that let's talk about one that everybody does that I have found does not work well, and then let's talk about one that I have found that works very well that nobody does. Right? So, the thing that everybody says to do, which I don't say to do, and this is everybody. I go on LinkedIn, I see video experts all the time recommending sales plays, and they say, ask the prospect if they want a video. Go send out a bunch of cold emails or cold DMs and maybe use AI to personalize it a little bit and then say like, I'm gonna 3x your revenue. Simon, would you like to see a 60-second video about why that's possible? Just respond with the word video and I'll make one for you. I have never found that to work, right? If some guy in a suit walks up to me and is like, Chris, I'm gonna give you a Snickers bar. Do you want me to send you a video about why Snickers bars are delicious? I'll say, no, thanks. I'm just gonna buy one if I decide that I want one. Thanks a lot, but no need for us to ever speak again, Whereas if I'm just going through my day and I happen to see a video about a Snickers bar and it's clever or interesting or catches me in the right moment, I'm gonna go, for some reason I feel like a Snickers bar today. So I don't ask them if they want a video. I just send it. And I take note of whether or not they watch it. So that's a thing I have found. You are much more likely to get people to watch the video and respond to the video if you just send it. If you ask people, do you want me to make you a video? Don't be surprised if the answer is complete silence.
What's the easiest way, before we go to the other example, what's the easiest way to send a video that actually works so that we don't get hung up in tech?
The easiest way is LinkedIn. If you are connected to someone on LinkedIn and they are first connect, LinkedIn has native video capabilities. You can send a video directly through LinkedIn. It has to be 60 seconds or shorter, but if somebody is one of your first connections, that is a way to make sure that they get the video and it's not going to get intercepted by a spam filter.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
um, LinkedIn, absolute easiest way to send a video. It's harder with cold email. I actually recommend cold email. Don't send it on the first email if you're doing this through cold outreach. Like I found it's much more successful to send a short text-based email and then
Mm-hmm.
follow up with the video.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the thing that the data says works that nobody is doing, and I
Yeah.
can't even claim full credit for this because I learned this from my friend Kevin Dorsey. Uh, if you send a video and they don't watch it, you send it again. You just send it again in the follow-up. Ask a slightly different question, go a little deeper on what you want to ask, but just include it a second time. And don't say, "Did you watch the video? I sent you a video. Did you watch it?" They saw that it was there and they didn't watch it, you know. But send a simple follow-up and include it a second time. And you would not believe how successful that is. How many deals I've closed, how many meetings I've gotten with people who didn't watch it the first time, but I sent the exact same video a second time, and on the second time they decided to click it.
Because you never
Why?
know
Well,
what's their timing. Yeah.
yeah. Again, what does the candy company do when they want to sell me a Snickers bar? Do they send one video to my feed, and if I don't click it, they say, "Well, this guy's gone forever, closed loss. He's never gonna buy a Snickers bar. He's totally impossible to reach." No, they just show you the video again at a different time. And again, put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's actually made a video, right? You're an account executive somewhere. You're not a video expert. This is not something that you do all the time. You spent way too much time doing it. You spent 3 hours, to make this 2.5 minute long video or something. You give one try and then you just give up. What sense does that make? You put all this effort into it, and the data shows if you just set the same video and asked a slightly different question, they would be so much more likely to watch it. And if they do watch it and you pick up the phone and call them, they are much more likely to talk to you and you're much more likely to get a productive conversation. But people don't even get that far because they haven't thought about this as a process. There's a process for cold calling, there's a process for cold emailing, there's a process for running a demo. Video is so complicated with so many moving parts, everybody's just flying by without a process, and it makes no sense to me.
When does it get awkward? Like I know that I think it's one of our email follow-ups says, my therapist said I should let go. It's the subject line because it's the third or fourth, and I'm trying to start talking about that I'm still here. When does it get weird?
I mean, there is some point where you have to just accept that like this person isn't watching and you move on, but like, yeah, the point that it gets weird, I don't know. Like, I don't even like, because what you're talking about is like a breakup email, is
Mm,
what they're called in sales, And like, I have found that breakup emails, they lead people to unsubscribe or mark as spam. It doesn't necessarily make it more likely that they want to take the meeting, you know? Um, but it's like, I've reached out to those people uh, in the future. And it's this funny thing too, because it's like, I got this whole and like I made a whole course about video selling and what you should do, and like I focus a lot on the ending, the call to action, and I believe that you should be very clear with the recipient about what they need to do if they want to move forward, and also what they need to do if they want this to stop. You know, because I have seen people who send out a video and the video is great. The person's looking straight into the camera. They're well lit. They're confident. They did their homework. They're talking about something relevant. They send it. The other person watched it. Maybe they watched it twice, and that person doesn't reach out to them. And, we go watch the video to see what's wrong. And the video ended with something like, "Hey, Let me know if this sounds interesting to you and if you want more information, and I'll email it over to you. You
Mm.
know, um, you're making it complicated for them. Like, everybody's attention span is so fragmented right now. Even if they want uh what you're selling, like they might get an email from their boss and then go and they just like totally forget about it, you know?
Hmm.
So oftentimes my videos end with me saying something like, "Hey, if this is something you're interested in, respond with anything. Just send me anything. And if you're interested in having a chat, if you want to jump on a call, you could even just send me a thumbs up. You could just click the thumbs up emoji and I'll send you some times that I'm available. And also, if this is not in your wheelhouse and I've got this totally wrong and this is not something you're interested in at all, you can let me know. You could even just send me a thumbs down and I'll know that this isn't for you. And either way, it's good to be connected to you. I'll see you out there on LinkedIn. And I've had some people who 6 months later, out of nowhere, they just send me a thumbs up emoji, you know? Or they'll just watch it. They'll watch it later at a point in time, you know. And I'll reach out, and maybe you're on some closed loss list that I'm going after, and I'm like, hey, Simon, I don't even know if you got a chance to see this. Last March, I sent you a video because I was asking about blah 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 blah. I'm sure you were busy with a million things, but if that's something you're working on this next quarter, let me know. You know, if you've got any questions or anything, just respond. If you want to chat, you can just send me a thumbs up. And if I'm totally wrong on this, this is not anything that you care about and anything that you're working on, you can send a thumbs down and I'll just cross you off your list and we can just carry on as friends, you know? And sometimes they respond and they go, okay, I'm not going to send you a thumbs down emoji, but here's why I don't think this is the right time to talk about this. And I'm thrilled in a situation like that. Because remember, the goal is not to win 100% of every single deal you try for, it's to start a conversation. And I'll get people who send me the thumbs down and they'll say, hey, you know what? I really appreciate this. Right now, we're working with a coach. We're going really hard on cold calling. We're licensed with this coach until the end of July. So we just can't be taking on anything else right now. That's a great rejection. They gave me so much more to think about. Now I can start nurturing them. Now I can be in the back of their mind. And then June rolls around and all of a sudden I can reach out and I go, hey, Simon. Yeah, I know you guys were working with that cold calling coach. I know there's been a lot of focus on the SDR team trying to do some outreach. Have you guys ever considered adding some video to your setup? Let me know if you're ready to speak about this. And even if the answer is no, they're not going to be like, unsubscribe, mark as spam. I'm going to go on LinkedIn and put this guy on blast about how they either say no thanks or like, yeah, let's chat about it. And like, what more can you ask for if you're in sales? It's good conversation.
Yeah. Which channel do you enjoy most right now? Is it LinkedIn or X or something else completely?
LinkedIn is probably my favorite because, and this is, people will disagree with me on this, but I actually think it's the easiest to track.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're aware of this, but if your viewers are not aware of this, um, Simon, have you ever downloaded your LinkedIn data? Is that something you do?
I've never downloaded anything from LinkedIn. Nope.
So this is something that blew my mind when I figured out that I can do it. If you go, and you don't even need LinkedIn Sales Navigator for this, right? You don't need LinkedIn Premium. Anyone with a basic LinkedIn account can do this. Go to settings, click on privacy and security, and there's an option that says download your LinkedIn data. And you can download your entire LinkedIn data as a spreadsheet. So every single message you've ever sent, every single message you've ever received, you can get that as a spreadsheet. So I am starting conversations all the time. I leave comments on, the posts that people are making. If I am prospecting into an organization, I'm not just looking at what their leadership is saying. I'm looking, who are their leaders following? Like if their leaders are actively following people on LinkedIn, sometimes that's a clue as to like what kinds of content they're interested in, what kinds of problems they're trying to learn about. I'm starting little conversations all the time, And oftentimes that's how the video starts is like, hey, Simon, you and I have been going back and forth a lot. I know we've been talking about automation for SDRs, and I wanted to pose a question to you. That's how it starts. And again, what did I say in the beginning of that video? Simon, 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 Simon. Right? Not Chris Bogue, Chris Bogue, look at me. It's, hey, Simon, I noticed you've been posting about this. You've been thinking about this. I saw that press release that your company put out because I know that you're venturing into this market or you're launching this new vertical or whatever it is. I spend the first half of the video talking about them. Then it's the pivot to, and here's why I think it would make sense for us to chat. Here's what I help organizations do. Here's a couple examples of some of the companies you might recognize that I've helped them solve the similar problem with them. Let me know if you'd be open to a chat about that. You can respond with anything. If you want to jump on Zoom, you can just send me a thumbs up and I'll send you my link of some available times. And if you're like, this is not something we're interested in at all, we're not looking to do any video, we don't want to do any video, this is not a part of our process, you can just send me a thumbs down. You know, I don't take it personally. Either way, I appreciate you watching. Have a great week.
I am
And that's it,
thinking,
45 seconds long.
wow, that's powerful. I am thinking if we apply your structure, we can give this to our AI of choice, the the downloaded document, and say, make this into a list of, according to our ideal client profile. Now find the ones that are talking about this topic, make it a spreadsheet for me for my next prospecting session tomorrow, and put it in my calendar as half an hour. And next day you open it up, you have a list of what they posted about, and you start your thing. Hey, you posted about this. I mean, wouldn't that make your life easier?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I think AI is for. People go out there and they're using AI to be like, write me a joke. And I'm like, hey, actually nobody cares about my jokes. They don't. It's actually much more powerful for me if you posted something funny on LinkedIn, Simon, it's so much stronger for me to say, "Oh my gosh, Simon, I just saw that thing you posted and I was just cracking up." My team and I looked at it and we were all cracking up because that's something we face too. It got me wondering about what you guys are going through there. Because I know you're working on this. I know your company has a big goal to do this. So here's something I want you to consider, you know? And again, am I saying, hey, look at me, I'm so funny? I could. I could go in there and try to do something to amuse them, but they're not looking for amusement. They're at their job and they're trying to figure out like how to not get fired, how to hit their quota when they're behind right now. Like whatever it is that their boss got angry at them for. So my job is just to notice. What are they working on? What do they care about? What are their priorities? And oftentimes AI can help with this. You can feed AI information. There are different AI tools that will research this company. Um, I don't like to have AI write for me, but I do like it to give me like lists of things. I'll say, hey, here's the company profile. Here's something that this chief revenue officer just posted. They're in the finance vertical. Give me like a list of like 5 big problems that he's probably encountering on a day-to-day basis. You know, um, again, it's never been easier to find this information, but you still got to go out there with a little bit of thoughtfulness and a little bit of curiosity and frankly, a little vulnerability. Like, it's vulnerable to put yourself on camera, which is why people don't really do it. But on the flip side, it's a lot harder for people to be disrespectful about you when they've actually taken the moment to look into your eyes and listen to your voice and hear that you've actually learned something about them and you've done your homework about them, which uh, again, even if it's a no thanks, it's not a no forever, and it's certainly not I'm gonna block you and yell at you and mark you as spam and call your company and yell at your boss and blacklist your domain. It's just a completely different kind of conversation. And in sales, someone's got their guard up, they're not gonna accept you. You have to get them to like put their fists down before they're actually willing to listen.
Yeah. So you sent the video, you see that they opened it. Now, when you call them, do they say which video, or how does it continue?
No, if I call them and I'm like, hey, I'm the guy who sent you a video, they know exactly what video I'm talking about, you know? Um, because again, oftentimes the video is based on something they said or something their company said or something that their company is doing. So when people ask me like, oh, I have to give a title to my video, what am I supposed to title it? You know, what am I supposed to put as the subject line to the video? I say take the words right out of their mouth. You know, uh, that press release, that statement from the CEO, that social media campaign, whatever it is, you just take the words right out of their mouth because that's the thing that they're working on. That's the thing they're focusing on. They don't care about you. They're working towards some type of goal. So can you go in there and speak the language that they are already speaking? And if you can do that, you're already,
Mm.
heads and tails above the other 99 million people in their inbox this morning.
So they say they're gonna make everything greener, and you go, "Hey, I just noticed you guys are on your way to make it greener, and I'm wondering, insert relevant question, and then, and this is maybe a reason why we should talk because I can help you with one aspect of that."
Yeah, more or less. Now I'm also not a fan of being like, oh, I just noticed because that's another talking point that like
Mm.
people's antennas perk up when you're like, oh, your information just popped up and I noticed that you're a successful business owner. Um, it's more like, I know you guys have been working on this. You know, I just saw your Q3 report come out. I just saw that like this is the big new announcement that you guys are doing. And like yeah, if somebody's like, "Hey, we're trying to bring green energy into the AI space." It's like, "Hey, I'm reaching out. I know you're committed to reducing greenhouse gases. And I know the people that you're trying to reach out to probably don't want to hear about that. These AI companies that you need to sell into are probably sick and tired of being told, well, do you know that every ChatGPT search burns X amount of liters of water? So, like, what are you guys doing to get in front of them? you know, because I've been helping companies use LinkedIn and video to get in front of key stakeholders, and I didn't know if this is something on your radar. So, if this is something you guys are already doing, or if this is something you guys have no intention of doing, just let me know. If I'm way off here, just say no thanks. You could send me a thumbs down if you don't want to chat. I do not take it personally. But if you're open to this, I know specifically, I saw your sales team adopted SenseSpark recently. If you guys don't have a process together for this yet, let me know. I'd love to chat with you, even if it's just for a little bit. I've helped a lot of companies you might recognize, like X and Y and Z, put something together. So you can respond with anything or send me a thumbs up if you want to chat. Either way, I appreciate you watching the video. And then you follow up. Always, always, always follow up. Because again, even if they liked it, even if they were compelled by it, even if they want to respond, their kid just broke a vase on the other end of the room and their wife is screaming and now you've fallen back to the bottom of the mental priority list. So it's like you always got to follow up, but you can plant a good seed. You can be very intentional about the first impression you leave on that decision maker, and that's an incredibly valuable thing.
And when you said, "I know you guys are working at," I got actually interested. How does he know? Who told him? So it's,
Hmm.
I got interested. I want to know, how does he know this? Does he study us? Is he acquainted with one of my colleagues? It sparked my curiosity.
Yeah, I might mention that. Or another thing that I do, and again, this is another thing where I teach video differently than a lot of the people that I've seen on LinkedIn teach the video. And screen shares are another thing that I disagree with heavily with the conventional wisdom that I see from people out there. you know, where a lot of people are like, okay, here's how you do video prospecting. You get the video tool, right? You get your Loom, you get your SendSpark, you get your Vidyard, you get whatever. Reach out to the decision maker and take a get like a background of their website and be like, "Hey Simon, I'm on your website right now. Let me show you how my tool works and how it would improve X and Y and Z." And again, that never works. Because if people wanted to watch a product demo, they would go to your website and they would watch a product demo, you know? Whereas for me, like let's say your CEO just made a big announcement, or maybe they posted something about X and how like they just had some big ambitious kickoff and they want to be the leaders in whatever by 2027. I'll have that up on the screen. So it'll be me sitting here at my desk, but it'll be that screenshot from them. I'll be like, hey, congrats on the kickoff. I just saw this and I thought that's awesome because that's something that most companies are not working on. However, I'm reaching out because I wanted to pose a question to you. Thing disappears off the screen. But now that person's actually sitting there in anticipation. Like, oh, who's this guy? This guy is speaking confidently to me. He's connected to me on LinkedIn, so I must be somewhat familiar with him. I did just say that thing. That was less than 24 hours ago. That was a public announcement we made. All right. I'll hear him out. And maybe he's not going to jump in the boat and buy my solution, but he watches 100% of the video. And again, you got to follow your analytics. But if I look at that and then 8 hours later, I see that video has been watched 10 times, that means he just shared it out with his team. He either sent it out as an email or he shared it in Slack. And I'm in. I'm up here. They haven't taken the meeting yet, but they know who I am. They've given some thought to the message. Now it's time to pick up the phone.
How do you track your follow-up and who you did follow up and who to follow up next without getting crazy?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So, if I am like working with a team that, like you've got a large team, you're probably tracking that somehow in Salesforce or HubSpot. Your CRM is probably how you're doing that. For me personally, for my own business, I actually prefer Kanban boards. Like Asana or, TickTick is my favorite. And this is also because like, we've only been talking about video for sales. I also teach video like for content marketing. And like, if you want to make a demo video that people click on your website to watch, I can help you make that too. That's a completely different set of rules. That's a completely different audience. That's a completely different purpose. But I like having columns of like, these are all the people that need a follow-up.
I've never heard of TickTick. What is TickTick?
TickTick is kind of like Notion. So I know a lot of people out there love Notion, especially for AI things. I don't like Notion because Notion does not utilize folders. And when I'm organizing anything, whether that's video projects or documents or whatever, I like to have multiple folders. So like, yeah, I use TickTick and, I've got a Kanban board for all my sales prospects. I've got a Kanban board for, video projects that I'm doing. I got Kanban boards to track my exercise progress and my dog training progress. And like, I'm just a big fan of being able to move things from the like, oh, I'm going to put this in the close loss column, or I'm going to put this in the needs another follow-up column, or I'm going to put this in the resend video column.
So there is an account, let's say Steve, VP of marketing at Coca-Cola. That would be the person now in the middle of the Kanban. You are working them and then you move them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll have them like, hey, here's my list of new prospects that I need to start with on, 2026. And yeah, maybe your name is in there. So maybe I've got like, here's the video list. And I tell people, hey, if you're going to send one video, you might as well send 5. Right? if you're gonna go through the work and you're gonna like make sure your hair is nice and the lighting is nice and you're gonna set up your webcam and everything like that, make a bunch all at the same time. Remember, because we're not shooting an Academy Award-winning film here. I'm not trying to win the Oscar for Best Picture. I'm trying to get you to watch something for 30 seconds. So if I start looking at the camera, talking about you, talking about your company, talking about your goals, talking about problems you might be working on, and I'm also doing outreach to 9 other companies in the same vertical, those videos are probably going to be pretty similar.
Mhm.
Like there's going to be a little bit of difference in terms of the personalization, but the second half of the video is going to be pretty much the same. I'm going to
Mhm.
pivot to like, here's the problems that I help companies solve. Here's some examples of companies you might know that I've worked with. Here's what to do if you want to chat. Here's what you want to do if you never want to chat. And I'll see you out there, and it's like those videos are not wildly different. It's mostly just a person sitting talking to a camera. But once you realize that person is looking through the computer and talking directly to you, it's a lot more exciting.
You gave me an idea because you are right. Notion and AI, they go so well together. So
Hmm.
as a salesperson, you can say, "Hey, build a pipeline of everybody that I'm following up, and do this in Notion." And like 5 minutes later, it's built. So if you want to
Yeah.
say, "Tell me the five I should follow up with," and when I've done it, just go check them off. It does it for you.
Yeah, yeah. And again, it's one of those things where it's like I'll send out the same message to a bunch of people. Or again, sometimes I'm not even starting with the video. Sometimes I'm like, okay, again, I'm going after a new vertical today. I'm gonna go after education tech, you
Hmm.
know. I'm gonna reach out to VPs of sales from my network who are in education tech. Maybe I'm gonna start with a DM, or I'm gonna send an email, or I'm gonna send something that's faster that doesn't require me setting up the video. I just sent out 100 DMs. I'll pull the spreadsheet, you give it to AI, and you're like, hey, I want you to analyze the responses.
Hmm.
Here's the 100 people who received a message. Tell me how many responded. The people who responded, what do they say? The people who rejected me, what did they say? You can have AI do all that kind of organizational stuff for you, but it's like everybody who did respond is getting a video
Hmm.
and say, hey, thanks for answering my question. You said something and it's been stuck in my head all night. So I had to like personally ask you, you guys are working on X and Y and Z. Have you ever considered blah, blah, blah? Here's why. And maybe I'm way off. And if I'm way off, you can tell me. But if this is something that's maybe on the horizon for Q2, maybe it would make sense for us to chat. Let me know if you'd be open to that. If you want to see some available times, if you want to jump on Zoom, just let me know. Respond with anything. You could send a thumbs up emoji if you want, and I'll just send you some times available. And if not, if you're like, who is this guy? This makes no sense. I don't care about this. Maybe I got it wrong. That's fine too. You could send me a thumbs down even and save yourself some time if this is totally not relevant. And I'll go ahead and cross you off the list. But let me know either way. Hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you out there on LinkedIn.
I love this. And back to your beginning, don't go for the sale. Basically, don't go for what's
Mhm.
real. How do we know
Yes.
what's real for them before we even meet them?
Yeah, so this is a tricky thing, um, because you don't want to guess this. And this is another thing where it's like if you're in a big sales organization, like it's real for them because you've got your top quota crusher out there who you should probably be listening to and taking notes from because they probably ask similar discovery questions every time. And, like this information probably exists already in your system. But yeah, it's like in general, I say like if you go in there with their words, if you're talking about their press release, their goal that their company just publicly stated, you know that you're telling the truth. Um, it's when we assume we know what the other person wants, but we haven't actually looked at, that's when we can get into trouble. And again, that's why I would always go with the thing that they just announced on X. Like if their CEO just announced something on X, that's real, right? He went there and he wrote that, or he had his personal assistant or whatever put that up there. That's real to him. If I'm like, ChatGPT, tell me what this person is interested in. ChatGPT doesn't know. It's gonna guess. It's gonna guess, but it doesn't actually know, you know? And again, this goes back to the improv training,
Mhm.
right? Where you go up in front of the audience, and the first thing you usually say is, "Hey, we need a word. We need someone throw out a phrase. We just need one word to get the show started." If someone yells out wet cardboard, then the show is about wet cardboard.
Mhm.
You can't be like, okay, well, I can't think of
Next.
anything funny, so think of something else. And some improvisers do that, and it instantly kills the trust. Because then the audience starts thinking, oh, this is scripted, this is planted. He's
Mm.
not funny enough to be able to do it. You have to be willing to accept whatever it is that they throw at you and just go from there.
Oh, this brings
You
me to
know?
an idea. Can
Yeah.
we play a little thing?
Hmm.
Because with you, I have to play this.
Okay.
I will ask you some questions that I get all the time, and I'm gonna curious how you answer them.
Okay.
So, no, Simon, we are already working with somebody like you.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm gonna jot that down right now. Uh, so you're already working on this. Who do you work with?
Nice.
It's just curiosity. Now, notice the first thing I did in there, and again, this is something else that I find is helpful in sales. Um, the first thing I do is say, I have just noted in my records that you're not looking for something like this right now, right? I find something like that, again, gets them to put the fist down, right? Hey, I marked that. I hear you loud and clear. You're not looking to change to anything right now. So I've noted that you're not looking to buy something like this right now. Would you mind if I asked who you're working with?
Love that.
Um, Another thing that I found is like, and this is actually a trick from Jerry Seinfeld. It's a weird Jerry Seinfeld thing where Jerry Seinfeld's got a rule for small talk, and numerical questions are your friend. You know, so like he says, because he's awkward. So he says if somebody comes up to him after a show, let's say he's doing a show in St. Paul, Minnesota, and someone comes up to him and starts talking to him, he doesn't ask, what's your favorite thing about St. Paul, Minnesota? Or what's your least favorite? He goes, oh, how long have you been in St. Paul for? And the person goes, well, actually, my husband took a job here about 3 years ago. So we moved with and they start giving you all this extra information. So that might be another one I go for. They go, hey, we've been working with a different coach. I go, oh, that's good. Well, I've noted here that you're not looking for a coach right now because you already have one. How long have you been working with him for? Simple numerical question, but they tend to go a lot deeper than they expect to go. And maybe they're going to admit that, hey, 4 months from now, that contract is going to be up. And like, you've just armed yourself with all this wonderful, valuable context. So in a couple months, I could go, hey, Simon, I know 4 months ago you weren't looking for something like this. I know you'd been working with that coach for the past 9 months. Um, However, I just noticed that you guys just launched a new vertical and you're now expanding into this thing. So I was wondering if you could answer a question.
Love this. Another
Yeah.
question for you.
Mhm.
No, Chris, I don't want to talk. Send me the pricing and the offer.
Okay. So, I don't want to talk. Send me the pricing, send me the offer. I mean, typically the way I go about this is being like, well, again, first I say, okay, well, I've noticed that right now you're not looking to talk about this, you know, so yeah, I guess like send me the pricing and the offer. I mean, I guess I from there I would probably be like maybe kind of just blow it up. You know what? I would be happy to do that, but you also just told me that you're not in the market for a solution right now. So I don't want to be blowing up your inbox with stuff that's not relevant to you at all. So like, can you maybe just share with me a little bit about like how long you've been using this other thing for, or like what would need to change for you to even be willing to like be looking for something like this? I'm gonna flip it around because I don't want to be giving you things that you don't want. And again, I try to like always frame things and why it's good for them. Sorry, my dog is grumbling. Shh,
No problem.
shh. Um, but yeah, so it's like because again, they're always trying to get you away. And again, that's their job, right? Their job is not to be talking to salespeople all day. Their job is to be doing their job. So yeah, I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? That might not even be a good idea based on what you just told me. You literally just told me that right now this is not a priority for you. So would you mind telling me like what is the training priority for your team right now? What are you guys
Mhm.
currently working on? I've noted that this is not something you're looking to buy right now, so I've already crossed you off that list. You know, but what are you guys working on? And yeah, I'm not a big fan of people who are like, oh yeah, just send me the email because I know they're not going to watch it. And again, this
Mhm.
goes back to earlier when I'm like,
Yeah.
uh, I don't ask, do you want me to send you a video do you want me to make a video? Because sometimes people be like, yeah, sure. They have no intention of watching it. They have no intention of talking to you. They're just like, oh, I can say this and that guy will shut up,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm not there to do that. I'm there to have a real conversation with you and to actually find out what you're interested in and what you're not interested in, even if that ends with you being like, hey, this is not the right time. No thanks, that I mark you as closed lost. Like, I would rather have you as a solid closed lost than have you on the maybe list where I'm just running around doing all these extra tasks for you that you have absolutely no interest in at all.
You mentioned Jerry Seinfeld. Who are your current Jerry Seinfelds? Who do you like watching in terms of comedians?
Uh, Comedians. So probably my favorite comedian, like who I think is like the funniest person of all time, is Conan O'Brien.
Conan.
Conan. So I'm a big Simpsons fan. You can see I got Simpsons up there. Conan. Um, I love Conan for a lot of reasons. Um, One of them is like, especially over the past 10 to 20 years, he really tries to focus on comedy that is eternal. He'll do these things where he goes and he visits a country overseas and he's like a stranger in a strange land and he's just talking to regular people and it's so funny, and there's been so much topical humor throughout my lifetime. Everyone's a satirist, everyone's a troll, everyone is trying to comment on what is fashionable and new and controversial. And I can watch stuff from Conan 30 years ago that's still just as funny today. And when I go into my creative videos, I have learned that oftentimes it's not what I say it's not about being clever. Sometimes I'll just look at the camera and be like, just give a funny face, and that's what the audience thinks is funny.
Mhm.
So it's like Conan O'Brien is a genius. He is so smart. He is so intelligent. He's had a hand in making some of the most brilliant comedy of all time, and he can also just be completely stupid and silly, and he doesn't even have to say a word. He can just sit there and he can just make you laugh. And he's totally comfortable going anywhere in the world talking with anybody. And I hope I can be a fraction as good as that as he is someday, because it's truly marvelous to watch the man work.
One of my top 20 favorite books of all times that I reread again and again is from Keith Johnstone.
Hmm.
And it's the one where he's training. It's called Improv for Storytellers. And
Hmm.
he's training, I guess, comedians. So they're doing something, they're doing a sketch. And then he said, no, stop. This is redundant. This is not real. And basically, they're practicing staying with the real and working the moment. Is this
Yes.
something that you are doing with teams?
Yes, yes, yes. And again, it's like And sometimes companies call me in to just do an improv workshop. They're like, we don't want to know sales, we don't want to know content creation. We're doing an offsite, and we just want to get everyone loose and having some fun. So we just want to go up there and just do completely improv storytelling. And the first thing I tell them is I get everybody in the room, I get everybody standing up, I tell everybody go and take a deep breath. Now breathe out the need to be funny. Breathe out the need to tell jokes. Because if you tell somebody, I'm going to tell you the funniest joke on earth, they put their guard up. And they're like, I'm going to see is this guy actually going to be funny? I don't know. But most people are funny when they're trying not to be. When they're just sitting around with their friends and family. It's the thing that's honest. It's the thing that you're not trying to get people to laugh about. That's the thing they laugh about, you know? So again, it's one of those things. And in improv, the rule is just yes and. It doesn't matter if you have the funniest idea in the world in the back of your head. You have to say yes to what the other person just said. You have to. That is like the only rule in improv. You have to listen. You have to accept the reality of the other person. And at first, it sounds very limiting. You're like, oh my God, I want to go out there and do funny things. I'm so funny. Look at me. But then you realize like, oh, it frees you from the need to be funny. It allows you to be 100% in the moment. And when you're 100% in the moment, that's when all the funny things start happening. You know, and it's the same thing with sales. If you go in trying to sell somebody, they're going to put up their guard and they're going to get rubbed the wrong way and they're not going to like you. If you go in there and you say, I'm going to try to understand them. I'm going to really try to listen to them. I'm going to try to ask intelligent questions based on what I know is true in their life. And I'm going to listen and try to understand fully. You got a much better likelihood of making a sale. That's just kind of how it goes.
This is so good. Hey guys, go to Chris Bogue. Please, it's chrisbogue.io, right? Where can people find you?
chrisbogue.io. Yeah, I've got a course all on video selling. It's called The Complete Guide to Selling on Video. I go super in depth on LinkedIn prospecting, shooting, lighting, how to send the message, editing. I even get into like subtitles and thumbnails if you want to go super deep on it. And I also have a free course called The Pattern Breaker. So if you want to start putting some stuff out on LinkedIn that doesn't just sound exactly like all the AI generated stuff you see out there, it's all about how to find patterns, how to break patterns, and how to lean into your own point of view and put stuff out there that is interesting and different and pattern breaking. So you can get all that at my website, chrisbogue.io, or you can find me on LinkedIn. Just look up Chris Bogue. Should be pretty easy to find me. Send me a connect. I'm friendly.
Hey guys, I'm 23 years in sales coaching. This guy is amazing. Send him a video. Go to LinkedIn right now, Chris Bogue. Send him a video, and you might learn a ton just about what he tells you about your video. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
sharing this.
I'll be nice too. I'll be nice. People are actually better at this than they realize. You do it a little bit. I mean, nobody learned how to cold call perfectly on the first try, right?
What does the best video? Hey, what does the best video get? If the person who sends the best video?
I'll give you the course for free.
All right. Thanks for
typically
playing.
$150 course, so yeah.
Amazing. Boom. I'm sending one too. Let's do this. Guys, let's send him videos. Thank you, Chris, for being here.
Do it.
Come back soon.
Thank you for having me, Simon.